Hi students, in this session we are going to discuss about vapor pressure of solids in liquid solutions. Next, what are ideal solutions and non-ideal solutions and their characteristics we are going to discuss. First one, vapor pressure of solids in liquid solutions. Sir, in previous class already we seen what is vapor pressure of liquid solutions. First you take some amount of liquid I am taken in pure solvent taken in this container. Carefully see sir, this is liquid total. In this liquid slowly, already you know concept, surface liquid molecules having more kinetic energy, they start escaped into surrounding atmosphere. Slowly liquid molecule convert into vapor. That process is called evaporation. That process is nothing but evaporation. After some time, these liquid molecules are convert into more liquid molecule convert into vapor. Then that liquid molecule collide with each other. What will happen? Due to collision, some vapor molecules kinetic energy decreases. Those vapor molecules kinetic energy is least, they are again comes back to the liquid state. Means now which vapor molecules having least energy, that vapor convert into liquid state. That process we call as condensation. After some time, at particular time, the rate of evaporation equal to rate of condensation. It is that situation we call as, or that state we call as equilibrium state. At equilibrium state, the pressure exerted by the vapor molecules is called vapor pressure. So suppose it is here we are taken only pure solvent. In pure solvent, it is denoted with a pure solvent vapor pressure, we can denote it with P naught on. Solvent means we can denote it with 1 or A. So pure solvent vapor pressure is P1 not indicate pure substance. Is a clean. In generally, on surface only liquid molecules or only pure solvent molecules are present. So more molecule try to escape into surroundings. So for this pure solvent, if you add some amount of non-volatile electrolyte, at same temperature, here what temperature is there, here also we are maintaining same temperature. At same temperature, same quantity of pure solvent we are taken. For this solvent, we add some amount of solute, non-volatile solute like sucrose, glucose, urea, NaCl, like that. Solute I am adding to this pure solvent, then solute plus solvent, it becomes solution. Carefully see, in previous case, what will happen? On surface of the liquid, only pure solvent molecules are there. that molecules try to escape into surrounding atmosphere. Due to escaping nature, more molecule vaporized, so vapor pressure of pure solvent somewhat more. Come to here, this is solution. Suppose 1 mole solute, 1 mole solvent. Suppose both present here. What will happen? On surface area, along with the solvent molecule, some amount of solute particles also occupied. Means as compared to case 1, in case 2, surface areas pure solvent molecules will be decreases. The fraction of solvent molecules get reduced on surface area. Remember, solute molecule not vaporized, non-volatile. Here also only solvent molecule get vaporized. Here on surface area on surface area all are solvent molecule, all they try to escape into surrounding atmosphere. But in this solution, some fraction of surface area occupied by the solute molecule, they cannot vaporize. The remaining solvent molecules only try to escape or try to undergo vaporization. So as compared to case 1, case 2, vaporization is less. Reason, on surface solvent molecules are less as compared to this one. So here vaporization is less, therefore vapor pressure also less. Here also solvent molecule vaporize, non-volatile solute particles not vaporize. Here also solvent molecule vaporize. But on this surface, more amount of solvent molecules are there. All are pure solvent molecules, but on the surface area of the solution, some fraction of surface area occupied by solute particle, remaining only solvent molecule. That solvent molecule only vaporized. So here vapor pressure is less. Vapor pressure of the solution we denoted with P or P1. Or if you take, you will take like this: P naught, vapor pressure of pure solvent. Here P, vapor pressure of the solution due to evaporation of solvent molecule only. Solute molecule never vaporized. In generally, if the solution containing non-volatile solute particle, their vapor pressure is relatively less as compared to vapor pressure of pure solvent. Therefore, according to this, for any solution, P naught is greater than P. What is P naught? Vapor pressure of the pure solvent. P, vapor pressure of the solution. Here, vapor pressure of the solution always less than vapor pressure of pure solvent. What is the reason here? Here, on surface area, some fraction of surface area occupied by non-volatile solute particle, means on surface area pure solvent molecules will be decreases. That's why vapor molecule escaping nature decreases, vapor pressure decrease. On the surface area, all are solvent molecule, their escaping nature more, so here vapor pressure is more. Is it clean? Carefully listen. Here the difference, here lowering of, next point, lowering of vapor pressure. This is we are denoted with delta P. Lowering of vapor pressure or decreasing in vapor pressure. What is decreasing in vapor pressure? Means decreasing in vapor pressure means it is the difference between vapor pressure of the pure solvent and vapor pressure of the solution at the same temperature is known as lowering of vapor pressure or decreasing in vapor pressure. Once again, lowering of vapor pressure means the difference between vapor pressure of pure solvent and vapor pressure of solution is known as lowering of vapor pressure. P naught minus P. Simply you see, sir, number of solute particles increases, more vapor pressure decreases. Therefore, lowering of vapor pressure value delta P also increase. Carefully see. P decreases, P naught not changes at constant temperature. P naught is constant value. With increasing solute particle, P decreases. Therefore, delta P will be increases. With increasing number of solute particles per unit volume of the solution, lowering of vapor pressure value increases. The difference between vapor pressure, decreasing vapor pressure will be increases. So this vapor pressure, decreasing in vapor pressure value depends on only amount of solute present in the solution irrespective of nature of solute particle. Suppose here you see, sir, this is the solution, this is another solution. Here solvent is liquid A, here solvent is liquid A. 1 liter I am taken. Here 1 liter water, here 1 liter water I am taken. On general example is, in this 1 mole, sucrose dissolved, here 1 mole urea. Look at here, 1 liter water I am taken in 2 different containers. Here 1 liter, it is act as a solvent. In first 1 liter water, 1 mole of sucrose I dissolved. Here second case, 1 mole of urea I dissolved. In 1 mole sucrose contain how many particles? Avogadro number of solute particle. Here 1 mole urea contain how many moles of urea particles mean? Here also it contain Avogadro number of urea particle. It means solvent quantity is same and number of solute particle here and here same. Number of solute particle when it is equal, the decreasing in vapor pressure or lowering of vapor pressure also almost same. Is it clear? Decreasing of vapor pressure value is same when two solutions containing same amount of number of solute particles. That lowering of vapor pressure not depends on nature of solute. Next one, RLVP, relative lowering of vapor pressure. Sir, here you see first 3 terms completed. Vapor pressure of pure solvent, vapor pressure of solution containing solute. Next one, lowering of vapor pressure over. Now relative lowering of vapor pressure. Relative lowering of vapor pressure means it is the ratio of lowering of vapor pressure to the vapor pressure of pure solvent is known as relative lowering of vapor pressure. This concept clearly will discuss in colligative property concept. Okay. Once again, you see definition, just definition only you have to see here. Relative lowering of vapor pressure. It is the ratio of lowering of vapor pressure to the lowering of vapor pressure to the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. It means delta P by P naught or P naught minus P by P naught. This is what we call, so this equal to RLVP, relative lowering of vapor pressure. Is it clear? Relative lowering of vapor pressure means delta P, lowering of vapor pressure by P naught, vapor pressure of pure solvent, that is equal to what's P naught minus P by, P naught minus P by P naught. This is relative lowering of vapor pressure. See, in this case what we are seeing, for any solution containing non-volatile solute. Its vapor pressure is relatively less as compared to the vapor pressure of the its pure solvent. P naught greater than P. The difference between P naught and P is nothing but lowering of vapor pressure. Relative lowering of vapor pressure. It is the ratio of lowering of vapor pressure to the vapor pressure of pure solvent. See sir, in this again I am taking same diagram. Here blue color indicate solvent molecule, a black color indicates solute molecule. It is non-volatile solute present in solvent. It forms solution. Solvent denoted with one symbol and its vapor pressure is P1 is a clean. Solute molecule not undergoes vaporization. So it generally solute indicate letter 2. Your solvent letter indicate all the terms 1 if you come, that is belongs to solvent. 2 symbol if you are using, it belongs to solute. Okay, see sir, in this solution vapor only pure solvent molecule vaporized, but solute molecules not vaporized. Is a clean. Carefully see here. Raoult's law is generalized to all solutions which contain non-volatile solutes. Okay, according to that, for any solution, the vapor pressure of the each volatile component present in the solution is directly proportional to its mole fraction. Previously, this Raoult's law only applicable what sir? In liquid solution. Now it is generalized, either liquid in liquid solution or solid in liquid solution. After generalizing that definition, once you see sir, for any solution, the partial vapor pressure of each volatile component present in the solution is directly proportional to its mole fraction. Suppose come to here in the solution, here solute plus solvent is there. Among the solute and solvent, solute is non-volatile. So for non-volatile solute, for this Raoult's law we can't tell. Here solvent is volatile substance. So here this solvent mole fraction. So solvent partial vapor pressure of this component is directly proportional to its mole fraction. Therefore, according to that, P1 proportional to the X1. Here P1 is partial vapor pressure of solvent in the solution. Here X1 mole fraction of the solvent in the solution. Carefully see, P1 is the partial vapor pressure of the solvent over the surface of solution. X1, it is the mole fraction of solvent. Raoult's law, what we telling, for any solution, partial vapor pressure of each volatile component is directly proportional to its mole fraction. To remove the proportionality, P1 is equal to P1 naught into X1. This is what sir? Raoult's law. Raoult's law now it is also applicable even solids present in liquid solutions. It is general definition. P1 is equal to P01 into X1. Suppose X1 when is equal to 1, therefore P1 is equal to P0. When X1 is equal to 1 means what sir? Therefore X2 value is 0. X2 0 means there is no solute, only present solvent, means that is pure solvent case. Partial vapor pressure is equal to P is equal to P0. If you draw the graph, vapor pressure and mole fraction. Here x1 0. If you go to the side, mole fraction of x1 become 1. Now you see, sir, mole fraction of solvent increases. What will happen? Mole fraction of solvent increases, its vapor pressure also increases. Therefore, graph line, you are getting like this. This is what, sir? Vapor pressure of solvent. Where it is touches this intercept, here x1 is equal to 1, means in that component, in that container only solvent is there, there is no solute. That's why when x1 equal to 1, therefore what will happen? P is equal to P1 equal to P0 1. This is the graph for vapor pressure and mole fraction of the solvent. Carefully see why we not draw the line for solute, means here solute is non-volatile solute. It means it cannot vaporize, it cannot exhibit vapor pressure. That's why only we draw the graph line for pure solvent in the solution, vapor pressure versus mole fraction. What is the relation? Vapor pressure of each volatile component is directly proportional to its mole fraction in the solution. This is the graph line is obtained. Raoult's law as a special case of Henry's law. Sir, means what is the difference and similarity between Raoult's law and Henry's law? We have to see, sir. Raoult's law, come to here. Henry's law. So this is applicable for liquid in liquid solutions or solid in liquid solution, but Henry's law applicable gas in liquid solutions. According to Raoult's law, once you see the definition for Raoult's law, according to this one, the partial vapor pressure of any volatile component in the solution is directly proportional to the its mole fraction. According to that, P1 is equal to P1 proportional to x1. If you remove the proportionality, P1 is equal to P1 naught into x1. This is the Raoult's law. In a solution, if a gas acts as a solute, the amount of gas dissolved in solution directly proportional to the partial pressure over the surface of liquid. Therefore, from this, P1 is equal to Kh into x1. Here also, Henry's law, what it gives in here, the amount of gas means the partial, according to Henry's law, the partial pressure of gas is directly proportional to mole fraction of gas in the solution. Means here clearly once again is said, if in solution when gas is dissolved, what will happen? The mole fraction of gas in the solution is directly proportional to the vapor pressure of the gas over the surface of liquid or surface of solution, is nothing but Henry's law. Is it clear? Now come to here. Here Henry's law, P1 is equal to Kh into x1. Here Raoult's law, P1 equal to P01 into x1. Here P1 proportional to x1. Here P1 proportional to x1. The similarity between Henry's law and Raoult's law In both cases, the partial vapor pressure of the solution is directly proportional to vapor pressure of the solvent. P1 directly proportional to X1, P1 directly proportional to X1. Both cases, this is the similarity. Now, what is the difference? Carefully see Raoult's law. Raoult's law, Henry's law. Raoult's law, Henry's law. Carefully see, in both cases, relation is similar, but here both cases, proportionality constants are different. Carefully see, Raoult's law as a special case of Henry's law when KH become equal to P01 or when proportionality constants become equal, Raoult's law becomes as a special case of Henry's law. Is that clear? Limitations of Raoult's law. What are the limitations of Raoult's law is there? You have to see, sir. Raoult's law is only applicable for very dilute solutions, but not concentration solutions. Next one. Raoult's law is applicable dilute solutions containing non-volatile solute. Is it clear? Raoult's law applicable solution containing non-volatile solutes which neither undergoes association or dissociation. Finally, simply this Raoult's law is applicable for ideal solutions. What is ideal solution? We are going to in next. First one, you see, what are the limitation? Raoult's law is applicable for very dilute solution. What is meant by dilute solution? Solute quantity is very less. Second one, dilutes. Next one, second limitation. This Raoult's law is applicable for very dilute solutions containing non-volatile solute. Third one, Raoult's law is applicable for dilute solutions which containing solute neither undergoes association or dissociation of solute particle. At the same time, between solute and solvent, there is no reaction. For such a solution, Raoult's law is applicable. If all characters is applicable, that's a solution what we call ideal solution. So simply, this Raoult's law is applicable for ideal solutions. According to Raoult's law, the solutions are broadly divided into two types: ideal solutions and non-ideal solutions. First, we are going to the ideal solutions. Actually, in first PU, we are saying ideal gases which obeys PV equal to nRT. Such a gases is ideal gases, but we are discussing about the ideal solution. Ideal solution means the solution which obeys Raoult's law at entire concentrations and all temperatures. It is called ideal solution. Once again, you see, the solution which obeys Raoult's law at entire range of concentrations and at all temperatures, such as solutions are ideal solution. Simply, At any temperature, at any concentration, if solution obeys Raoult's law, that is we call as ideal solution. So here ideal solution, what are the characteristics what are the characteristics are there, what condition should be fulfilled, we are going to see, sir. First, to prepare ideal solution, two liquids I am taking. In container 1, I am taking liquid A. Next, in container 2, I am taking liquid B. Carefully see, in liquid A, what molecules are there means all are identical A molecules. What type of attraction there in liquid A means your attraction between A and A molecules only. Is it clear? Now in liquid B, all molecules are BB molecules. The attraction between this liquid B is between BB molecule attractions are there. Now these two liquids mixed up in another container, then here what attractions can arise in this solution means you see, sir, it may be AA attraction, BB attractions, and one more attraction is produced, that is AB attraction, the new attraction in between like molecule attraction and unlike molecules attraction. Carefully see this solution, this is solution, sir. This solution to become ideal, what conditions should be fulfilled? First, we know what is that. The solution should obey Raoult's law at all temperatures and all concentration. Okay. What another condition should be fulfilled? Here you see, sir. First one, the solution to become ideal in solution containing both molecules, A and B molecules. One is solute means another one solvent. Here both molecules in binary solution, both type of molecules having similar size, comma, structure, and same intermolecular force of attractions. What are the main condition? AB molecule in the solution, in binary solution, AB molecule means one is solute means another one's solvent, means both molecules should be possess same size, same structure and same intermolecular force of attraction. Same intermolecular force of attraction meaning you see, sir, in solution A, AA attractions are there. Is it clear? In liquid A, AA attraction, in liquid B, BB attractions are there. In this solution, AA attraction, BB attraction and AB attraction newly this is obtained. Carefully see, the solution become ideal means the intermolecular force of attraction between AB must be almost equal to AA attractions as well as BB attractions. Means the solution to become ideal, main condition, AA attractions must be equal to BB attractions. And here what type of, how much force of attraction there in this liquid also? Same force of attraction should be present. After mixing in between A and B also, like same attraction, same magnitude of attraction should be produce. Such a solutions easily they become ideal solution. Is it clear? The main three conditions we are seeing what that similar size, similar structure and same magnitude of intermolecular force of attraction means AB attractions must be equal to AA and BB attractions. Then that is it act as ideal solutions. Next one. Next point, volume mixing. Volume mixing change must become zero. And then delta V mix must be equal to zero. Meaning of this, what's final volume delta V mix equal to 0 means final volume must be equal to sum of individual liquid volume. Therefore, this is what's volume of solution final volume. This is volume of solution final must be equal to sum of volume of solvent plus volume of solution. Volume of solution. Then only here for ideal solution delta V mix is 0. Meaning what's that? Final volume means in solution volume must be equal to volume of sum of solvent plus solute. These two volumes must be equal to volume of solution means after mixing either volume increasing or volume decreasing should not be takes place. Suppose to prepare this one solution 100 ml solvent I am taken 70 ml solute I am taken. After mixing solution volume also must be equal to sum of these two volumes. Carefully see, this is solvent 100 ml I am taken, solute 70 ml I am taken. Sum of these two is equal to 170 ml. Carefully see. Therefore, what will happen? Final volume 170. In before mixing, sum of the volumes 100 plus 70 means 170. 170 minus 170 0 means here ideal solution means carefully see on mixing of solute and solvent the resultant solution volume must be equal to sum of the volumes of solvent plus solute. Here delta V mix must be equal to 0. Next one, on mixing of two liquids the resultant solution the change in enthalpy mixing should be 0 means enthalpy change on mixing equal to 0. Meaning of this after mixing two liquids what will happen? Carefully see, after mixing two solution that solution neither absorbs heat energy nor releases heat energy. Energy absorbing or energy releasing should not be takes place. Such a solution delta H mix equal to 0. Suppose if it absorbs energy delta mixing greater than 0, it is not ideal solution. If the energy is released delta H mixing is less than 0, then what will happen? It is also not ideal solution. To become ideal solution, Raoult's law should be obeyed. Second one, delta V mix is equal to 0 means volumes of sum of volumes of solute plus solvent must be solute none. Sum of the volumes of solvent plus solute must be equal to volume of solution. On mixing of two liquids or solute and solvent, the resultant solution neither absorbs heat energy nor releases heat energy. When heat not releases, when heat energy not releases, not absorbs happen, we have to see. Here, sir, one basic principle you have to remember. Molecule interactions increases, energy releases. Molecules, we are overcome the attractions. To break the attractions, energy is required. Sir, in this liquid, AA attractions there, here BB attractions are there. Is a clean. So, after mixing here, what will happen? You see, initially here AA attraction, BB attractions are there. After mixing, here AA attractions and BB attractions are breakdown and new attractions are AB attractions are arises. While increasing AB attraction, energy releases, means this is exothermic process. While breaking attractions, here energy absorbs, this is endothermic process. Carefully see. Here endothermic process energy takes, here exothermic process energy releases. Here suppose in endothermic process to break down attractions plus 30 kilojoule energy utilized. Just we consider that value. While forming AB attraction, same 30 kilojoules energy releases, that breaking endothermic process energy taking equal to exothermic process releasing energy. Therefore, resultant delta mix is equal to plus 30 minus 30 is equal to what, sir? It becomes 0. But carefully say, Andre, here to overcome the attraction, how much energy takes place? To break down attraction, how much energy takes? If the same amount energy releases during the formation of new attraction, then no doubt in that cases delta H mixing is equal to 0. So here is here Raul's ideal solution to act as ideal solution. One is what's it? Here it must be obeys Raul's law. Second condition, what? Here similar size, similar structure and same intermolecular force of attraction. This is the basic condition. Next, delta V mix is equal to 0. Delta H mix is equal to 0. Means during the formation of solution, neither release heat energy nor absorb heat energy. Volume is, after mixing, solution volume must be equal to sum of solvent plus solute volumes. To form ideal solution, next condition, there should be no chemical reaction between solute and solvent. If reaction happened, that is non-ideal solution. If there is no reaction, that is only ideal solution. Carefully see. Suppose H2O plus CO2, it form this solute, sir. CO2 gas dissolved in water. Water is solvent. It form H2CO3. Here reaction happened between the solute and solvent. That's why this solution is non-ideal. Now H2O plus NH3, ammonia gas dissolved in water, it forms NH4OH. Here chemical reaction happen or not between solute and solvent? Solution is produced, but in between solute and solvent reaction happens, so it also non-ideal. Next, H2O plus CaO, it forms CaOH taken twice. In between these three cases, between solvent and solute, reaction takes place. That's why what will happen? These three comes under into non-ideal solution. To become ideal solution, there is no reaction between solute and solvent. Just it should be dissolved. Next condition to form ideal solution, solute molecules neither be dissociate nor associated. Is a clean. carefully see. Suppose NaCl dissolved in water. It dissociates into Na plus and Cl minus ion. In the same way, H2SO4 dissolved in water, it dissociates into H plus ions and SO4 minus 2. These solute when dissolved in water, immediately they are dissociated into particle. So these solutions, no doubt, non-ideal solutions. Next one, benzoic acid. This is the benzoic acid, 2 moles I am taken, dissolved in water, then in between two molecules of benzoic acid, intermolecular association is produced. So this is one benzoic acid molecule, this is another benzoic acid molecule. More electronegative atom of this COH group attracts the hydrogen. Here one hydrogen bonding, intermolecular hydrogen bonding is produced. Here also same, intermolecular hydrogen bonding is produced. Due to this intermolecular hydrogen bonding, two benzoic acid molecule, both are associate with each other. Two molecules act as a single molecule. That formation is called dimer. Dimer is produced due to association of solute particle. Means this benzoic acid, after adding water, that molecule convert like this. So if the solute association happen or solute dissociation happen, that solution comes under into non-ideal solutions only. Briefly see sir, solution to act as ideal means first most thing it should obeys Raoult's law. Case next one, that particle condition what sir? Particle size, structure and intermolecular force of attraction must be equal, then easily produce ideal solution. Next one, delta V mix is equal to 0. Delta V mix on mixing of two liquids, increasing of volume or decreasing of volume should not be takes place. Delta H mix, enthalpy change of mixing of liquids equal to 0, means after mixing two liquids, heat absorbing or releasing should not be takes place. And next one, to form ideal solution, there is no chemical reaction between solute and solvent particles. Okay, next one, to form ideal solution, solute particle should not be dissociated or associated, or neither dissociated nor associated. If the dissociation association happen, they comes under into non-ideal solution. In nature, perfect ideal solutions are very rare. Some of the combination, they shows properties of ideal solution. Exact perfect ideal solution not available in the nature, is it clear? But some of the combination means those molecule structures are very close to each other, they are, and intermolecular forces are almost near to same. Such a combination of liquids, they act as what's ideal solutions. We have to see some examples for this. See sir, example for ideal solution. First one, benzene, toluene, almost similar structure but only one small group is different. Okay, these two mixture can act as Ideal solution means it is not exact, but it can show properties of ideal solutions. Example 2. N-hexane. N-heptane. Hexane. N-hexane means what, sir? C. Total. Six carbon, N-hexane. N-heptane. Seven carbon. Almost structure is same. Linear structure. N means normal, no branches. N-hexane, 6 carbon, N-heptane. These two mixture act as ideal solution. Chlorobenzene. On benzene, chloro group is there. Bromobenzene. These two mixture, chlorobenzene and bromobenzene. It is the this mixture, this binary solution act as ideal solution. Next one, ethyl chloride, ethyl bromide, or chloroethane, bromoethane, chlorobenzene, bromobenzene, N-hexane, N-heptane, benzene, toluene. These combinations act as ideal solution. Means year one cannot paired. These two is act as ideal solution. This combination is another ideal solution. Like this, each one is one. Each pair is example for ideal solutions. Here you see, if all components, when you observe, in each pair structures are almost similar and size also almost similar, and type of groups also similar. That's why they are having almost similar interactions between the molecule. That's why they can show they can able to follow Raoult's law. Is it clear? See, sir, graph for ideal solution. In this, I'm going to write solution is equal to solute plus solvent. Generally, this is denoted with the number 2. This is number 1. This is a clean. Here, carefully saying, these are letters. What can we are using? It is B letter. This is A letter. In frequently we are using like this only symbol. 2 or B belongs to solute, 1 or A belongs to solvent. Carefully see, son. Vapor pressure of, according to Raoult's law, vapor pressure of each component is directly proportional to its mole fraction. Therefore, Pa is equal to P naught A into XA. Pb is equal to P naught B into XB. According to Dalton's law, total vapor pressure of the solution is equal to sum of partial vapor pressures of all component in the solution. P equal to Pa plus Pb. That is equal to P naught A into XA plus P naught B into XB. This is the total vapor pressure over the solution. Carefully see. If you draw the graph here according to Pa proportional to XA, according to Raoult's law, the partial vapor pressure of each component directly proportional to its mole fraction. Pb directly proportional to XB. Simply remember, in this two component, here suppose if A is more volatile as compared to B, more volatile means this vapor pressure is more, this vapor pressure is less. You assume like that. A component is more volatile, B component is less volatile, like that. here vapor pressure, here mole fraction of XA is equal to 1, here XA is equal to 0. Here to here mole fraction ಅಂದರೆ XA 0 to XA 1. In right to left mole fraction of A component increase. Here next one, if it is XA is equal to 1, XB must be equal to 0. Reason sum of these two equal to 1. So XA1 means XB 0. You see here to here XA decrease. Therefore here to here XB what will happen? Increase. Here XA 0. Therefore XB 1. Carefully listen. Now is first one XA directly proportional to vapor pressure of A. XA increases, its vapor pressure increase. So here you see sir, here to here mole fraction of A component increases. Here only A component is there, there is no B. So this partial pressure is equal to P naught A. And next one, here XB increases, its vapor pressure increase. Here to here XB increase. So with increasing mole fraction, its vapor pressure also increase. This we can draw like this. Here what will happen? This is equal to what will happen? P naught B. P naught B. Now this is what sir? Partial vapor pressure of B, partial vapor pressure of PA. And now if you connect like this, this is P total is equal to PA plus PB. P total vapor pressure of the solution when it is maximum is equal to P naught A. Total vapor pressure of the solution when it is minimum equal to P naught B. Is it clean? So this is the graph line, mole fraction versus vapor pressure of the solution. According to Raoult's law, mole fraction is directly proportional to vapor pressure of each component. Here straight linear lines are obtained in this graph. Which solution follows this graph? Such a solution we should consider as ideal solution. In ideal solution, carefully see, what total solution maximum vapor pressure equal to P naught A means it is more volatile, its maximum pressure P naught A. Okay now, total vapor pressure minimum equal to P naught B. Reason B we consider already less volatile, less vapor pressure. Is it clear? This is the graph for ideal solution. Okay now, in next session what is non-ideal solution? Again non-ideal solution classification will continue. Thank you.